Greetings, 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 greetings. Wagwan. This is your brother Chief Kalanago with another video here. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope you're having a great continuation. Hope you're having an amazing 24. My 24 is going, it's just fine. It's beautiful. All right. Um, we're about to get into some information. As usual, the information is strictly for knowledge purposes, not educational purposes, because that term, that word education, I got a problem with it. Too many educated people are brainwashed, right? So I would rather deal with things from a knowledge based perspective. All right. So we're going to get into some knowledge. Okay. And as usual, do what you want with the information. I can't tell you what to do with it, but I'm obligated to give it to you because that's my purpose. I'm here to serve my purpose, right? All right, cool. Let's make sure we have some audio on Facebook. This is your brother Chief Kalanago. All right, cool. We got audio on Facebook. Now, all the videos that I'm doing, of course, these videos are to prompt you so that you're able to, or at least be tempted to take action. You feel me? I'm more of a proactive kind of guy. I'm not a reactive kind of guy. In other words, I don't like to sit around and let things happen to me. I like to step forward and deal with the challenges face on, right? So that's why I'm giving you the knowledge, but not just giving you the knowledge, but also asking you to come together. Let's come together. Let's unite. Let's build a community and face these challenges head on, okay? Because that's the best way to overcome, all right? So we are going to break down a couple of things that happened in the Americas. I'm going to explain to you some of, more so a lot of the reasons why spiritually we are going through what we are going through. Okay. Because there are spiritual implications, there are spiritual ramifications, and we're not aware of that because we lost. Well, let's not say we, because I'm not going to categorize everybody, right? But the majority of our people lost their spirituality or their sense of spirituality when they adhere or they took on all these other gods, especially the gods of the colonizers. Okay, so we're going to break down a few things. And like I said, I'm going to deal and dive into the spiritual implications and ramifications of us getting into these contracts. So we're going to talk about contracts. We're going to talk about the virgin, as in Virginia, Virgin, Virginia. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the rapture, and we're going to talk a little bit more. Okay. Let me see what's going on here with my internet now. I think I'm live. What's going on? Anyway, for those of you who are not going to catch the live, you will catch the recording. But something just seemed a little bit strange. Maybe I'm bugging. All right. So we were taught that in 1492, colonizers came from Europe and stepped into the Americas and coined the Americas the New World, right? That's the story that we were taught. Okay. And of course, we have been given depictions of these colonizers as pale-skinned people, recessive men, which is not true. Okay. Just for the record, I have to note that all the people who came here in 1492, for the most part, they were people of color. Okay, so we have to establish that. All right. So when these people came here, we were actually looking at people that like literally a mirror reflection of ourselves, just from a different culture. All right, hold on for 1 second. Yes, greetings. I'm doing a live. Can I call you back? All right, thank you. All right. Oh man, give me 1 second, please. Okay. All right, let me just put this down here, man. It's all good. All right. All right, cool. Anyway, so I apologize. Okay. So, because a lot of times, people ask, well, how did we end up, at the bottom? How did we end up where we're at? Or like, what's going on? Well, I'm going to touch a little bit of that in this video. So we have to realize this, right? Let us go into the spiritual realm. And when I say the spiritual realm, I'm talking about the mental realm. Heaven is in the mind. Okay. So nothing happens in the physical realm unless it happens in the heavenly realm. I'm going to repeat that. Nothing happens in the physical realm unless it happens in the heavenly or the spiritual realm. So as above, so is below. It must manifest first in the unseen before it becomes seen. So why is all that important, and what does it have to do with 1492 and the situation that we're in today? Okay, like I said before, we were the first, so we had to become the last. So everything that transpired, all right, it was supposed to bring us to the point that we are at and where we are at today. So 1492 was the middle passage, so to speak, right? And not middle passage as in they taught us about slaves coming from Africa. No, all of this is allegory. All of this is symbolic. The middle passage basically meant that coming from a certain level of spirituality, of pureness, right? By the time the colonizers came here in 1492, we, the American Aborigines, we were actually on a decline. So that was the middle passage where the higher self met the lower self. And the lower self had to enslave the higher self because we were still manifesting in our higher selves. Why? Because we were still children of the wilderness. We were still the children in God. We were still the children that knew that God was in everything. God was in nature. We knew that up until 1492, and that had to change. So that was the middle passage. Okay? All right. I hope that makes sense. But once again, everything that happened, it was contractual. It was a contract. It was a spiritual contract that we went into a state of forgetfulness, not realizing or remembering the contract that we got into. And that was part of the experience, forgetting who we were. Okay. Well, you may ask yourself, well, Chief, well, how do we know you're telling the truth? Well, ask yourself this question. How is it that all of a sudden American Aborigines are waking up and remembering that we are the American Indians? What happened 50 years ago? What happened 60 years ago? What happened 70 years ago? How come it wasn't so popular? Some may say, well, maybe it was because of the media. No. Now, we had to go into a state of forgetfulness. That's why grandmother had to give us that little clue to come back home, like the little Red Riding Hood. Okay, you have a little Indian in you. The little Indian represents the Red Riding Hood. Okay? The Red Indians, we are the Red Indians. And of course, I already showed you what red means and what red looked like, what ruddy looked like. Ruddy is brown. This is considered ruddy, brown. Okay? So when these people came here in 1492, that was part of the manifestation. That was part of the prophecy. That was part of the contract. Okay? Now let us go look at what a contract means, because right now, a lot of us are getting into contracts that we don't even know we are getting into contracts. Okay, contracts could be written, contracts could be spoken, contracts could be implied. And you know the most dangerous ones? The most dangerous ones are the ones that are implied. Okay, whether it's written or spoken, it's an implication, and you may not be aware of that because you don't know that it's happening to you. Typical example, a movie. They could tell you something in a movie and you don't know it's a contract. And just because you did not protest against the movie, then it was implied that it was a contract. Okay, like they could give you a movie about we're going to vaccinate the entire United States. And you go to the movies, you're paying to go see the movie. You buy the movie on what you call it, on all these different platforms. Guess what? You just acquiesce to the contract. It was implied because the movie is a form of social, not social, but it's a form of media. It's a form of news. And they are telling you what they're going to do. And you are not, you think it's entertainment, but to them it's not entertainment. It's actually a contract. That's how serious and deep this game is. But a lot of people don't realize that because you're looking at it as entertainment. But to them, it's not entertainment. It's only entertainment to you because they have to keep you entertained. That's why it's called entertainment. Anything that deals with government, it deals with your mental. Okay? That's why you have governmental agencies governing you, governing us, because they consider us minorities, because a minor is a child or someone who is not capable of handling his or her own affairs. So therefore, they need governmental agencies to deal with your mental. And anytime you have people that are in place to represent you, okay, then you are considered a minor. You are not quite grown up yet because you cannot take care of yourself. All right. So I know it may seem like I'm babbling, but I hope it makes sense. So let us go look at what a contract means. What's good, Brother Marcus? All right, let's go look at contract. It will all come together. Contract. Let's go to Black's Law Dictionary. All right, and we're going to look at the meaning of contract from a lawful or a legal perspective. All right, so here we are. Contract. Contract definition and legal meaning. Definition and citation. An agreement upon sufficient consideration. For there to be a contract, there has to be consideration. In other words, somebody have to give something to get something. That's called consideration. Okay? To do or not to do a particular thing. It is quite very, very straightforward, very simple. An agreement. There has to be an agreement. If there's no agreement, there's no contract. But my brothers and sisters, you don't realize that you are given agreement because you are not protesting. Okay? You are not rebuttaling. So therefore, by default, you acquiesce. So therefore, you agree to the terms and conditions of these contracts. And that's why we are going through what we are going through. We are not going through what we are going through because of the color of our skin. No, we are going through what we are going through because of our ignorance. And we perish for the lack of knowledge. So let us read again the legal definition of contract. An agreement. Okay, an agreement. That means two parties must come together. There has to be a conversation, a dialogue, some form of exchange. And then, based on the terms and conditions, we are going to make an agreement. We are going to get into a covenant because that's a contract. Upon sufficient consideration. The consideration must be sufficient within law. If it's not sufficient, then therefore it's not a contract. So a lot of us have gotten into contracts, and these contracts are not lawful. They are not legal. Because why? They are not sufficient in the agreement. And most times these contracts were done unknowingly. But yet still, we got into these contracts. So for it to be a lawful contract, it has to be agreed upon, and it must be sufficient in consideration to do or not to do a particular thing. All right, let's go to another one. It's a covenant or an agreement. A covenant is an agreement between two or more persons. Okay, one person cannot have a contract. No, it has to be one, it has to be at least two or more parties. But it says a covenant or agreement between two or more persons with what? Lawful consideration or cause. Because of the cause, there will be an effect. But it must be lawful. So therefore, a lot of the contracts that we have gotten into, they're not lawful. The birth certificate is a contract. It's not lawful because we, as the beneficiaries of that contract, we didn't have a choice. Our mothers, our parents forced us into these contracts. So therefore, it is not lawfully binding. Okay? You cannot tell me that this thing on this piece of paper is me because my mother said so or because the government said so. No, I have a right to self-identify because I was not a party to that contract. So you cannot tell me that's me. But you see, they could get away with it because we refuse to come together. Because you see, it's only the numbers. It's only in numbers we are going to overcome. You say individually, they're going to make examples of us. But when we come together as a collective, we have a better chance of fighting and winning. So think about what I just said. The birth certificate is a contract that you are a party of or a party to. But it was a contract that was done without you knowing. There was no prior informed consent. You as a baby, how do you know? It was forced upon you. But everything that's being done in that name, it reflects you and you think it's you. It's a contract. So therefore, it is not a lawful contract because there was no sufficient consideration because you had nothing to do with it. All right? Here's another meaning. A deliberate engagement between competent parties. You see, if a contract is done between two or more people and any one of these individuals were incompetent, then it's not a lawful contract. You see, as a baby, you were incompetent. So therefore, that birth certificate contract is not lawfully binding. But what do I know, huh? We're just talking about the birth certificate here. There are many other contracts that you sign that you don't even know that you got into a contract and you gave up your rights. All right? It says a deliberate engagement between competent parties. In other words, you have to be cognizant of what you're doing. You have to be sane, so to speak, in their terms. Upon a legal consideration, here goes that word consideration again. In other words, I'm giving up something. What are you giving up? You see, our mothers gave up us, the children, as wards' property. That's why they're called informants. What did you get in return? A few privileges? Oh, well, you have a right to get a driver's license. You have a right to get a social security number and probably get a stimulus check. That's what turns you on, a stimulus check. I see people posting about, oh, well, I got my stimulus check. You see, they keep buying you. You have an entire continent that's yours. You are royalty. You are kings and queens of an entire continent, but you want stimulus checks. You want tax returns. When the entire continent, the entire empire is ours. But you're settling for the privileges because you don't realize you have rights. You have rights to these things. Huh? It says, upon a legal consideration to do or obtain from doing. Here we go again. A contract or agreement is either where a promise is made on one side and assented to on the other, or where two or more persons enter into engagement with each other by a promise on either side. Okay? So we get the gist of what a contract is, right? Beautiful. Let us dive a little deeper. And let me explain to you what type of contracts. We all are actually in contracts. If you have a birth certificate, you have a contract. If you have a social security number, you have a contract. If you have a cell phone, you got a contract. If you have a laptop, you got a contract. If you pick up the phone and you say hello, you just got into a contract. We are living in a contractual world, whether you like it or not. But first, the contract is established in the spiritual realm. So when you don't know who you are spiritually, you are not able to control who you are physically. I don't know if y'all are ready for this, but I'm going to give it to you because ain't nobody going to give it to you like me. I'm going to give you that work. I'm going to repeat that again. If you don't know who you are spiritually, and when I say spiritually, I'm not talking about some sky illusion. I'm talking about spiritually, the heavenly realm, the mental realm. Heaven is in the mind. It's within you. If you don't know who you are within you, you will not know who you are without you. And when I say without, I mean outside of yourself. If you don't know who you are within, then you will be without you. Because it all, you see, the earth did not come about from a big bang theory, no. From a big explosion, no. The earth came about from an implosion. It was an implosion, hence you have an explosion. It was first an implosion. It was created and manifested within. And then what we did, we projected out into what we call the world. Well, Chief, how do you know that? It's the same thing. How do you see? When the light hit your retina, it flipped things over and it gives a projection. So we projected these things in the eye of the universe. That's how we're able to see all these things. So there was an implosion, not an explosion at first, an implosion, then it exploded on the outside. But let us get back to contracts here for a second. Let me show you what type of contracts that we engage in and we don't even realize that. Okay? And that's why we're always getting the short end of the stick. All right? I love you too, brother. Real talk. All right? Real talk. Let us go. Let us get that. All right? No doubt. I had to definitely put that work in. You know, I had to go to London and chase that down. All right? Let us look at the type of contracts that we engage in and we don't even realize that. Okay? They're called adhesion contracts. Okay? They're called adhesion contract. What's an adhesion contract? An adhesion contract is a legal agreement. Here goes that word agreement again, a covenant that is drafted by one party, but not the other. In other words, the government created the birth certificate. Your mother and father have nothing to do with it. That's an adhesion contract. But let's read this again. An adhesion contract is a legal agreement that is drafted by one party but not the other. This means that the parties signing the agreement have no chance to bargain for the agreement's terms. Instead, it is a take it or leave it situation. But you see, our mothers didn't have a choice, because if they left the contract, then the police would have came. So therefore, they had no choice. I hope I'm starting to open up your mind here for a second. But let's read this again. What is an adhesion contract? Now that you know what a contract is, an agreement, a covenant. An adhesion contract is a legal agreement that is drafted by one party. So therefore, a contract, covenant, agreement must be between at least two or more parties. But in an adhesion contract, only one party drafts the contract. So therefore, obviously, it's not going to be a partial contract. It's going to be on partial. It's going to be in one favor. But it says not by the other. The other is the one getting the short end of the stick. It also says this means that the party signing the contract, the signee, had no chance to bargain. In other words, you had no chance to rebuttal. You had no chance to negotiate. Remember, it had to be a situation. Okay, let us go back here real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, I want to make sure I get the terms. All right, let's go back here for a second. I want to make sure I get the terms, correct again. All right, what did it say when we went to contract? It said consideration. You see, there in a one-sided contract, there's no consideration. What does it say? It says a contract agreement, the promise to be made, blah, 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 promise, blah, blah, blah. A contract agreement obligates himself. Legal consideration. All right, so when we go back to adhesion contract, there was no consideration. There was no consideration. It was a one-sided contract. And that's what we are doing, and that's what we are living, and we don't realize why these things are happening to us. We think it's because of the color of our skin. No, it is because of our ignorance. Because our mothers did not have a choice to say, well, hey, I don't like these terms and conditions. I am not going to sign this contract. So we are all under, or we are all, or we are a party, we are all a party to adhesion contracts. The driver's license is one. Even your job application is a contract. Everything is a contract. And you have a right to look at these contracts and change things if there is not enough consideration. In other words, if it's a one-sided contract, if it's an adhesion contract that you're not comfortable with, you have every right within law to say, I want to change this because there is not enough consideration. In other words, I am the one giving more and I'm not getting the benefit of what I'm giving. And nobody could prevent you from canceling a contract that is not lawful. But like I said, because we are doing it individually, we are not coming together, we don't have a community, then we are perishing. You see, I have to go back to coming together, because don't think it's just going to happen. Oh, well, yes, I've had, like I said before, I've had tons of success individually. But a lot of times I just have to pay a ticket. A lot of times I just have to say, hey, you know what? I didn't want to deal with the headache. I'm gonna just pay the fine. Not because I was wrong, not because I couldn't fight, but just because sometimes you just get tired. Just as many of you do. But a lot of times I fight, and I've had 97% or 96% success rate. So I know it works because I know these things are contracts. And I'm the type of man, I'm willing to go sit in jail for what I know is right. Because after you hold me for 10 days, you got to let me go. Because you have nothing on me. There's no contract. I challenge jurisdiction. You cannot hold me for more than 10 days. It used to be 72 hours, but they changed it to 10 days. You see, my question is, who monitors the people that monitor us? Who judge the people that judge us? Who police the people that police us? You see, we don't want to step up and police them because we have every right to, because we are the original people of this land. But y'all don't hear me though. So now that you know what a contract is, and now that you know what an adhesion contract is, which we are parties to these contracts, one-sided contract, because you wasn't the one who created the driver's license. You weren't the one who created the birth certificate. You weren't the one who created the social security numbers. You weren't the one who created the job application. You weren't the one who created the light bill. You weren't the one who created the phone bill. No, those were contracts that were given to us, and they are adhesion contracts. Nowadays, they're forcing you to pay everything, paperless. Because why? Those are adhesion contracts. Oh, well, go online and do the application, and then you must do this. There is no or. There is no other option. If you want it, you got to do this. Because why? You see, these things only happen to prisoners of war. People that are prisoners. You see, we are in prison and we don't even realize it. We are enslaved and we don't even realize it. Because, oh, well, you could jump on a plane. You could go to, out the country. You could jump on a plane. You could go to Atlanta. You could go to Texas. We just slaves with privileges. Because they could take away your passport. So when are we going to realize that we are not free? Even if we have the privilege, we have freedom of movement. We're still not free. The United States is the biggest slave plantation in the world. So like I said, now that you know what a contract is, and you know the type of contracts that we are actually a part of, let's proceed. Let's go back even further. All right. So we are going to go into Virginia. The colony of Virginia was a contract that was established. You see, nothing can be done without contracts. You have to realize that. Nothing can't be done without contracts. I'll tell you why. Because there are spiritual implications. These people, and when I say these people, I'm talking about the colonizers, I'm talking about the so called powers they be, I'm talking about the so called elites. They know that there are spiritual implications if they violate these spiritual or these galactic contracts. So, therefore, they have to get you to be a party of the contract voluntarily or involuntarily by trickery. You see, you don't realize that. There are certain galactic laws, okay, that they cannot violate. And they know this, man. But because you don't know, you see, when they took our gods away, when they took our spirituality away, that was us letting them know, hey, you know, those galactic treaties, they no longer stand because we gave up our gods and we are now worshiping yours. So therefore, we are under these new contracts. We are under the contracts of the Judaism. We are under the contract of Islam. We are under the contract of what's the other one? Christianity, Catholicism. We are under all these different contracts because they are contracts. You calling yourself an Israelite is a contract because Jacob had to change his name from Jacob to Israel. That's a contract with the Lord God Yahweh. That's a contract. Jacob means supplanter, a thief, one who robs, who steals. So all that stuff was done and it was immoral. It was unlawful. It was theft. That is a contract. And the contract was with your Lord God, you had to be circumcised. That was the contract. Well, I'm thankful my mother did not circumcise me, man. Maybe she knew something about me. So I have no contract with your God. That's how I know I'm different. They are all contracts. They are all contracts. Okay? So let us go into Virginia. Virginia, the colony of Virginia that was set up was a contract to take over North America. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. The Virginia company that was created was a company that was created to take over North America. Okay? Why do you think it's called Virginia? Because the word Virginia comes from the word virgin. It was dedicated to Queen Elizabeth I, who was actually a woman of color, a so-called black woman. Okay? King James was a man of color. King Charles was a man of color. The pale-skinned people did not take over the crown until Queen Victoria, okay, in the 1900s. All the nobles before that were people of color that came here, that looked just like us, to rape. They brought the rapture. We're going to get into that too, because y'all really think the Bible is about this sky daddy. Nah, it wasn't. The Bible, they're telling you the Bible is a story of what they did to indigenous people, not just in the Americas. A lot of people, oh, well, the Bible is the story. It was, you know, it was actually telling the story of the Americas. No, it's telling the story of all indigenous people, not just the Americas. Okay? It is symbolic for the rapture or the raping of indigenous people all over the world, not just the Americas. Okay? So I'm not going to be that biased and that cocky. Truth is truth. Okay, so let's get into Virginia. Let me show you exactly what happened. And it was done through contract. Okay? So the first colonial company from Britain was the Virginia Company of London, was a joint stock company chartered by King James, who was a man of color, in 1601. So in 1607, okay, I'm saying 1607 because a lot of people say 1607. O is a letter. And if we're dealing with numbers, why am I saying O? I'm going to say 0. So it may sound a little strange, but it's actually a 0 and not O. So it's 1607. All right. But it was established in North America. And King James was a man of color. All right. And he named it after Virginia, the Virgin Queen, Queen Elizabeth I, who was a woman of color. Okay. That was a contract that was being created. Okay. It was a covenant, an agreement that was being established for commercial purposes. All right. So in 1607, when they talk, or 1609, when they talk about, oh, well, these slaves, these so-called black slaves came from Africa. No, these people, they were not slaves. They came to represent the crown. They were businessmen. They did not come from Africa. They came from Britain. Okay. They were well studied. In fact, they were esquires, men of nobility. All right. Let us go to the next. We have that. Let us go look at the etymology of Virginia, because I like to show and prove the things I talk about. All right. Here we are. I'm going to show you that all this is contractual. All of it was a contract. And we right now, we have a right to say that this contract is not benefiting us. All these contracts, these treaties, they were adhesion contracts. And therefore, they are null and void because we were not parties to these contracts. We have to revisit them. You see, there's a madness to everything that I teach. So some of you may think I'm just talking. No, I'm going to bring us right back home to show you the actions that we can take, but we have to do it as a collective. All right? Virginia, British colony in North America. So when you talk about North America, we are not talking about the United States, people. For a lot of you slow people, I'm going to come up in the camera. The United States is not America. Okay? Get off your high horse. You feel me? The United States is just a country, and I'm going to use the term country just because. But we know the United States is a corporation. But minus the corporation, the organic land, what we call the United States, the 52 states, whatever, the 50 states, etc. Okay, it is just a country, or countries rather, in North America. America is a continent. It's actually one continent. But due to colonization, they made it two continents, which is North and South. But it's actually one continent with a South side and a North side, and they separated it. You could drive from North to South. It is still one landmass. So therefore, it's not two continents. It's one continent. Okay? So for all you closed-minded people, you like to exclude everything that's outside of the United States, thinking that the United States is it. It's America. No, it's not. Stop the nonsense. Okay? So therefore, the Virginia Company was set up to colonize North America, all the countries in North America, not just the United States. And mind you, every state was actually a country, just so you know. So there are actually 50 countries in the United States. Because why? Each of them have their own constitution. A lot of you probably didn't know that, huh? Let's proceed. It says, the name appeared or appears on map in 1587. So Virginia didn't appear on any maps until 1587. All right. So therefore, a corporation was put on a map as a place. All right. Named for whom? Elizabeth I. The whom? The Virgin Queen. Hence, it's called Virginia. Virginia, from the word virgin. Okay? All right, cool. So now that we know that a contract, a covenant was established. You see, like I said, there's always a madness to what I teach because I'm going to bring it back into fruition, into 360, into full circle. Okay? A contract, the Virginia Company was a contract between the Crown and North America. It was a contract, it was a covenant. And the consummation of the contract was the virgin. Who was the virgin? The virgin was Pocahontas. Are y'all sure y'all ready for this work? Because I'm going to give it to you. And Pocahontas was a woman of color, a dark-skinned woman that she was so dark you could call her black because her father was a so-called black man. And I have the proof of that. She was the sacrifice. She was the virgin. So she was not kidnapped. No, she was given away for commercial purposes. In other words, our ancestors sold us out for commercial maritime business. But it was supposed to happen because that was part of the prophecy. So yes, they sold us out, but they didn't, if that makes sense, because it was supposed to happen, because the first had to become the last. So all that was part of the process, all that was part of the prophecy, all that was part of giving away North America through the virgin to another virgin, the Virgin Queen. Let us proceed. Let us go look at the etymology of the word virgin. See, if you cannot break down these things spiritually, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. And I promise you, ain't nobody doing it like this. Prove me wrong. Check this out. Etymology of virgin. Unmarried or a chaste woman, noted for religious piety and having a position of reverence in the church. Okay? Virgin as in Virgin Mary. Fresh, unused. So therefore, Pocahontas, on the consummation of this contract, she was a virgin. Pocahontas was just about 13. And that was the culture in Europe. They were marrying girls as young as 11. In fact, they were scoping them since the age of 4 and 5. Okay? And that's why they will have, even Charlotte, Queen Charlotte was a woman of color. She had 15 children. Because the goal was to get an heir. And the more children women had at a younger age, the more chances they had for an heir. So they were scoping young daughters from the age of 5 and 4. And once they get 11, the hips start to spread a little bit. 11 and 12, they were being married to grown men. They were pedophiles. And a lot of the remnants of these pedophiles are a lot of these descendants of these people that are here. So that's part of their bloodline. That's part of their culture. It's within their DNA. That wasn't our practice. We didn't do that here in the Americas. The rapture was brought here. And we'll get into the rapture pretty soon because a lot of you are still waiting on the rapture. It already happened. Because you don't know what the Bible is about. The Bible is not about a sky daddy, no. All right. So let us proceed. Let's go to the next one. We're going to look at who Pocahontas married. She married John Rolfe. Let us see what the name John Rolfe really means. John Rolfe is an uncommon English surname. Rolfe derives ultimately from Old Scandinavian and Germanic pre-5th century personal name Hordlof. This was composed of elements of rod or rod, meaning renown, and wolf, the wolf in sheep's clothing. Do you think it's a coincidence that Rolfe or John Rolfe means renowned, meaning well-known wolf? Do you think that it's a coincidence that the surname, renowned as in well-known, Wolf, married a 13-year-old Pocahontas? Do you think it's a coincidence that the wolf, and she was taken to England, and she had a son, and when she had the son, all of a sudden she died from natural or causes that people don't know? No, she was murdered because it was a sacrifice of, it was the sacrificial virgin, because she gave birth to the son that had to come back into the Americas and become the prince of the Powhatan. You feel me? Because that was the giving away of the North Gate, North America. It was a contract. Pocahontas was the contract. She was the virgin that was given. Okay, she wasn't kidnapped. All right, let us proceed. We're going to look at rapture, because the rapture already happened, but a lot of you are still waiting on Jesus, huh? I promise you, you'll wait. Wait, you won't see the rapture. It already happened. Let's look at the etymology of the word rapture, and then we'll bring this into a full circle. We got a couple more to go, okay? Rapture, act of carrying off. Okay, so the rapture is an act of carrying off as a prey or plunder. You see, prey. That's why I don't pray. I tell people, don't pray on me. Okay? An act of carrying off as a prey or plunder. Okay? From rapt and air or else from French rapture, it says a seizure, a rape, kidnapping, from Latin raptus, a carrying of. But guess where it came from? It came from the word rape. From the word rape. So when Pocahontas was taken, that was a rapture. I'm going to repeat that. When Pocahontas was taken, that was a rapture. Okay? That was a rapture. And what happens from a rapture or a rape? The plunders or the spoil from that raping or the rapture, it belongs to the people doing the raping or the ones doing the rapture. Hence, North America, the entire Americas, was given to the crown because the rapture took place. All right, let's proceed. You see, people don't realize what's going on. So what I'm going to do is we are going to go into, give me 1 second. We went over contract, so we did that. We did that. Let us go into the Bible here for a second. Let's dive into the Bible here for a second. Let me show y'all something real quick. Because y'all really think that your Bible is truly a man in the sky, okay? That did all these things. No, man. If God is good all the time and all the time God is good, why is God sending people to rape people? Answer me this question. You see, it's so easy to debunk the nonsense. It's only you people that's brainwashed, you can't see it. I'm going to ask you a question again. If God is good all the time and all the time God is good, why is God sending people to rape people? A good God will not do that. A good God will not let his children burn in hell forever. You see, no, you see, y'all don't get it. But let us go into this verse real quick and see the orders of the Lord God. And you tell me if that's a good God. Let's read. It says, and we are in Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 11 and 14. And it says, that's the Lord God giving these instructions. He said, If they accept upon their gates, all the people in it shall be subject to forced labor and shall work for you. Now, this good God, who's good all the time, and all the time he's supposedly good, he's telling his people, go into this town, go into this city, go into a village, go into a country. And if the people that are in the country, in other words, these indigenous people that are there, if they accept you, in other words, when you go and they accept you and they open up their gates to you and they welcome you, even if they welcome you with love, this is what I want you to do. All the people shall be subject to forced labor and shall work for you. Does that sound like a good God? You see, you're so, you may call me a hypocrite. You may say I'm blaspheming, but you are the hypocrite. You are the one that's actually the blasphemy, because you're so brainwashed and so indoctrinated, you cannot see that you're serving a demon, a devil. You're serving Satan and you think it's God. I'm going to ask you again, right in your Bible, because I'm using the Bible. Your God, your Lord God is saying to, whether it's Moses, Joshua, I don't give a damn. It's all made up. He told them, he commanded them, he ordered them, and he said, if the people that you're going into their village, it is their land, it is their country, it's theirs. If they accept you in peace and love, and they open up their gates to you, this is what I want you to do. Take all the people and subject them to forced labor. He didn't say, well, you know what, give them jobs. He said, I want you to enslave them and they will work for you. But it continues. He says, if they refuse to make peace, now you are sending your people to come into my village, into my country, into my continent. And I'm accepting them with love as brothers. And you are telling them to enslave me. But if I see what they're doing, and I suspect what they're doing, and I decide and I refuse, this is what you are telling your people. If they refuse to make peace, they engage you in battle, lay siege to that city. In other words, I'm not supposed to defend my people. I'm not supposed to defend my children. I'm not supposed to defend my wife or wives. No, I'm not supposed to do that. But he said in 13, when the Lord your God, you see, that's your Lord God talking, the demon, Satan. He said, when he delivers it onto your hand. So he's the one giving the command. Put to the sword all men in it. That's your loving God. The one that's good all the time. And all the time he is good. Does that sound like a good God? Go to these people. It's their land. And if they accept you with love, I still want you to enslave them. But if they realize what you're doing, I want you to kill everybody. Wow. But that's the God that y'all wake up to every morning and pray to, huh? Yeah. That's the God when your people are sick in the hospital, you pray for that God to make them better, huh? Very interesting. But I guess I'm the only one who's blind, right? I'm the only one I'm lost, huh? I must be the confused one. Let us read 14. And he said what? As for the women, the children, the livestock, and everything in the city, you may take as what? As what? Plunder for yourselves. Where did we see this word plunder? Where did we see this word plunder? We'll go back to that in a minute. He said, and you may use the plunder the Lord your God give you from your enemies. But these people, he said that, hey, if they open up the gates and welcome you, then they're not enemies, they are brothers, because they welcomed you. But you turned them into your enemy by enslaving them. And because they are fighting back, now you're going to kill them and you're going to take them as plunder. But where did we see this word plunder? Let us go back and see if we could find that word plunder again. And you tell me if this is coming from a sky daddy and not from man. Let us go look at the etymology again of rapture, because that word plunder sounds very familiar. I wonder what it's doing in the Bible. And it's also in the etymology of the word rapture and rape. What does it say? Act of carrying off as prey or what? Or plunder. So you tell me what kind of Bible God that you're serving. Or now, do you think that Chief might be telling you the truth and that Bible has nothing to do with a righteous, universal creator? It is men of Europe that's playing God and telling you exactly what they did all over the world to indigenous people. And of course, they injected some spirituality in there. And some, of course, you have books like Proverbs and all these different Job and all that. That's just poetry written by Bacon and Shakespeare, of course. I don't care how far back you go with the Bible, it don't make a difference. You could go to the Ethiopian Bible, it's the same bullshit. Because first off, Ethiopia is not the original name, it's Abyssinia. So Ethiopia is actually the corporation that was set up, and they gave you a Bible from Ethiopia to tell you it's the original Bible. You see, y'all are just so indoctrinated, it's not even funny. You're always trying to make an excuse for the book. You're always trying to make an excuse for the God in the Bible. All right? So, now that we have gone through this, let me show you again how you continue to get into these contracts, okay? How you continue to get into these contracts voluntarily, and you don't realize it because you don't realize who your gods are. So let's go to the etymology of the word vote. Vote, because every 4 years, that's what you do. You go to the polls. What's a poll? A battery has 2 poles. And if a battery is dead, what you have to do, you have to charge the battery. So when you go to the polls, that's what you do. You are given charge. Therefore, you are voting. Let us look at the etymology of vote. It says, formal expression of one's wish or choice with regard to a proposal, candidate, etc. From Latin word votum, a vow, a wish, a promise to a what? A God. Guess who your God is? The government. You know why? Because they created a birth certificate and they created a whole new man and woman on the birth certificate, and you think it's you. They are your creator. In fact, they are our creators. Unless what? Going right back to the contract. Unless we stand up and let them know that this contract is null and void. It's an adhesion contract, and it is not working in our benefit. We had nothing to do with it. We did not tell our mothers to sign this contract. Therefore, this contract is null and void. If the birth certificate is not a form of identification, then anything that comes from the birth certificate cannot be a form of identification. If the mother is a fraud, then the son or the daughter is a fraud. You see how I brought it back into full circle? 360. Every 4 years you go to the poll, and what? You pledge a vow to your God, the government. I'm done. You see how simple that was? See, when you break it down, you get into the contracts. So when they first came into the Americas, they couldn't just do things. No, they had help from our ancestors. Okay? These things were contracts. Okay? These things are contracts. Even the West India Company was a contract. When they went to Barbados and they created what's called Bridgetown. Bridgetown, what's a bridge? A bridge is what? To cross over the waters. Because now they're bringing admiralty law. Admiralty law deal with the waters. When they built the Panama Canal, it deals with the waters. Okay? It's all commercial law. So Bridgetown, Barbados was a major factor. when they were setting up shop. And then they were taking slaves, indigenous people from all over the Caribbean, sending them to the mainland, the United States, and from the United States into the Caribbean. A lot of you, literally from the United States, a lot of your parents are from the Caribbean and you don't even know that. From different parts of America, you don't even know that. Because that's what they were doing. Because the first set of slaves in the Americas was American Indians, not Africans. But because these people were so-called Negroes, they're making you think they were Africans. No, they were the original and are the original American Indians, which are us. Okay? So they created Bridgeport. That's why Barbados is still one of the countries where you have to go get a visa, okay, to come into the United States. It is still there. We are still dealing with these contracts. Okay? So my brothers and sisters, man, like I said, all I could do is show you the information. So let me show you the etymology of visa to show you how it's all connected. All right? Check this out. Visa, official or endorsement on a passport. You need a visa to pass the port. It is all ports. Okay? We as indigenous people, we should not need visas and we should not need passports. We should be able to just show our regular ID and travel anywhere in the Americas, as per the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People that Donald Trump gave us. Go look at the video I made yesterday. Now I'm bringing everything into 360 full circle. We do not need visas and we do not need passports to travel our land. This is our indigenous ancestral land. And as indigenous people, we have every right, and it also states this in the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, we have every right to travel our borders. So we do not need your passports. Like a hall pass when you're in school and you're on detention, everybody else is on detention, but they give you a hall pass. So they're giving you a pass so you're able to go through the port, a portal. Okay? But once again, what do I know? You feel me? So, as the original people of this land, it's imperative. Okay? Hear what I'm saying. It's imperative. It's mandatory. We have an obligation to ourselves, our ancestors, our posterity, as in our future children. We don't have a choice but give up our differences, all the little bullshit that we think that separates us. We have to let that go. Come together, unite. I keep teaching and preaching and reaching about community, the ability to commune within a unit as one. Unless this happens, we are going to go back into slavery. You know what? And it's going to happen. But here's what also is going to happen. Since the prophecy has been fulfilled, Mother Nature is not going to allow that. So what's going to happen? A lot of you are going to suffer. A lot of you are going to perish because you are stiff-necked. You are hard-headed. You are stubborn. Your heart is closed because your heart chakra is not open. And you're going to be destroyed from the inside out because you refuse to let go and let love step in. And like I said this before, I'm going to say it again. Even if we are the original indigenous people of this land, there are other people that don't look like us that's going to be for us and are going to join us. Let us not make this about skin color. That's the illusion. We have to be restored. And it's the only way this American landmass is going to go back to rest is when her children are restored. Our ancestors' blood has been spilt, and our ancestors are manifesting through us. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of you have to go. A lot of you have to die out. Hey, I'm just telling it as it is, because you're already gone. You are already gone, whether you are gone spiritually, whether you are gone through religion, whether you are gone through alcohol, whether you are gone through drug addiction, whether you're gone through your immoral ways, you are already gone. So you have to be purged out. You have to be destroyed for the new blood to come in, because it's a portal. One way in, another way out. One die, another one is born. So a lot of you got to go. And I'm not sorry that you got to go. It is what it is, because you are standing in the way of us moving forward and restoring our birthright. So you got to go. Good riddance, man. Now, I might sound harsh, and no, I'm not harsh. I'm just giving you the truth. I'm giving you the facts. A lot of you have to be purged out because you are wicked. You are evil. Your mouth say one thing, but your heart says something different. And you cannot fool me. I see through you. You see, you could get on the internet and fool people, but when you look at yourself in the mirror, you are literally deteriorating from the inside out. But you're on the internet fooling people. Nah, man. You can only fool those who can't see and the blind ones. But we got some real ones out here, and we are ready to stand up. You see me, I'm not afraid of no physical death. That don't exist. So I'm standing for what I know is true. And I'm willing to walk through any gate, any furnace, any platform, anywhere, and stand up and speak this truth. So I'm saying this. Someone asked, how do you know we are from this earth? It says, how do you know we are from this earth? There are theories that we, the originals, were brought throughout our consent, tricked into incarnating here. Now, nobody was brought here. Everything, again, everything had to be contract. You see, within universal law, there's balance. Okay? There's balance. And whether you were tricked because of your ignorance, then that ain't got nothing to do with nobody. It's your fault that you were ignorant. Okay? So nobody's from the earth. The earth is just our home. So nobody's from the earth. The earth is just our home. We're not the flesh. Okay? We are not the flesh. We are in this world, but we are not of this world. Okay? So a lot of people that came here, whether it was through trickery or not, the bottom line is ignorance of the law is no excuse. It still stands today. So whether you were ignorant of the law or the contract that you sign, whose fault is that? It's yours. So that's why we have to relearn. That's why it says, okay, of course I allow questions, Sister Amina, by all means. That's why it says ignorance of the law is no excuse. You feel me? It's no excuse. You have to know. And that's why it also says study to show yourself approved. Renew your mind. You see, when you renew your mind, then you could literally reshape your reality. It's all mental. It's all mental. It's all mental. You feel me? Nobody's in charge but you. When they talk about a recession and we are in a recession and all these things, the economy is bad. No, your economy is right here. Your economy is between your two ears. And whatever you think or you believe becomes your reality. You see what I'm saying? I don't get up and look at the TV and tell myself, oh, well, it's going to be cold and oh, it's going to rain. I don't do stuff like that. When I get up, I do my affirmations, I do my mantras, and then I put my hand outside the window. And then I dress accordingly. Because I don't want these people's perceptions, their suggestions to shape my reality. You feel me? Because I am in control. There is no other God but me. And when you know that you are God, you are in control. You shape your reality. You feel me? So I hope that answers your question. Now it says, Charles Rice says, you came here to save mother, and then we got trapped trying to save y'all. The realm was sealed to quarantine the tainted blood by Yahweh and his clones. You are absolutely right, Charles. Okay. A lot of us have been coming here, okay, to save Mother Earth from the very beginning. All right, from the very time, from the very first light that was manifested, it was against Mother Earth, and it was a male version of light, a corrupted light. And many of us have been coming back and forth over and over again to save Mother Earth and the children of Mother Earth. But a lot of people just don't get it. Just don't get it. You see, the new heaven that's going to be created, it's going to be created right here. Right here. And those who are not ready, they will continue to live in a third dimensional realm, just not this one. The vibration of this one is going to be raised. So that's why a lot of you are going to perish. A lot of you got to go. You got to go. And you'll be placed in a holding cell, another third dimensional realm. Once this frequency is raised, you'll be placed in a holding cell until you're ready to get it, until you're ready to learn that lesson. All right? So you have to renew your mind. You have to let go of all this religious garbage, all these false gods. Anytime you worship any god outside of yourself, you are worshiping a false god. You see, y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. And then everyone, well, God is he, God is he, God is he. How do you know? Then you say God is a spirit. So how is a spirit a he? How is it? Make it make sense. If God is a spirit, then how do you determine that the spirit has a gender? No matter how you come, I'm going to shut you down. Of course, politely. Sister Amina, you had a question. Feel free to ask a question, please, because I'm about to conclude this live. All right. So once again, I'm asking y'all to come together. Let's come together, man. Whatever hatred, animosity, jealousy, envy we have towards each other, whatever is eating you up on the inside, let it go. Let it go. Make amends with your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your aunties, your relatives. Make the first move. They may not be ready, but do it for you, because you are building you. You are raising your vibrations. You are building your frequency. You are opening up your chakras. Open up your heart chakra, man. Somebody's doing good. Be happy for them. Oh, you're absolutely welcome, Sister Lena. No, but I know Sister Amina had a question. I'm not sure if it's you also. So if that's you, then that's cool. Glad I answered your question. All right. My brothers and sisters, there is nothing else but us. Nothing else but us. What they gave us and taught us the illusion that things exist outside of us that we have to worship and all, that's an illusion. The worshiping and the glorification is for each other. We have to honor other gods. We have to respect other gods. We have to glorify other gods. In other words, I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. Those are the gods we are supposed to glorify, not this crazy illusionary images and personages that they gave us. Okay, that don't exist. It's all fairy tale. All fairy tale. Okay. It says, I had a question about the 12 different realms. Are there 12 or are there 7? I'm getting different numbers. Well, let's put it this way. There's more than 12 different realms. Okay, as a matter of fact, there have been at least 72 different heavens because there were 72 different gods. You feel me? Because guess what? Every individual is a god, and every individual could create a realm. So therefore, if we have 7 billion people on the planet, guess what? There could be 7 billion realms because every individual is a god that could create his or her own reality. So let us not get caught up in the realms and all these different things. Okay, those are just different schools of thoughts. Okay, we are all creators. We are all creators, and we could create our own realm. I guarantee you could sit down and literally create a whole new world in your own mind and not realizing that it manifested on another plane of existence. Okay? So let us not get caught up with that. Just know that you are a creator and we are absolute. I'm not talking about the flesh. We are absolute in nature. We are infinite. That's why we have no beginning, we have no end. Okay? You are God. I am God. We are the gods collectively. As per Genesis chapter 1 that says, let us create man. So we made a decision to individualize our God self in this physical body as male man and female man. You see, when you know, you know. So it becomes simple. All right? All right, cool. No doubt, Brother Charles Wright. No doubt, brother. You already know the deal. All right. We know real recognize real. All right. So anyway, I'm about to conclude this build. Hope you found some good information from that. I never ask for anything. I don't ask for donations. I don't ask none of that. What I give from my heart. I give with love. And I'm not saying that people that ask for donation, they don't. That's just, I just don't do that. Because I tell y'all, like, I used to do it, but a lot of you Negroes, I can't deal with Negroes, Negropeans. I can't deal with that. You know, people pour so much and give you so much. And then, you find it so hard to support them. I use the selfish ways and the selfish characteristics. That's not part of my nature. So I don't ask for anything. As a matter of fact, even a young lady asked me for my cash app yesterday. I didn't even give it to her. I don't want nothing from nobody for free. Even if I'm giving you information, I just know the mindset of Negroes. Okay? It's sad, but it is what it is. So all I'm asking is, if this has any type of value to you and you got the message, just share it. That's all I'm asking. Share it. Share it. Okay? I ordered some books, both books from Unless Everyone's a Slave Unless and Genesis to Reevaluation. I ordered some tangible books because Amazon is taking too long for the Genesis book. It's taking 4 to 5 weeks, so I had to make the sacrifice. My mom helped me out. Thank you, Mom. I mean, I love my mom. All right, so thank you. So I ordered some books. So when they get here, I'll let you know. So it's not going to take 4 to 6 weeks. Literally, you'll get your book within 4 to 5 days. So that should be here within the next couple of weeks. So all I'm just saying is, hey, listen, man, all I'm asking you to do, don't send me on any donations. All I'm asking you to do is work on yourself. Work on yourself. Learn to love yourself. Learn to forgive yourself. Whatever you've done, okay, it's never too late. You see, nobody has to forgive you but you. Because why? Thou shalt not have any other God but me. Who is God? You are God. So when you have to make the sacrifice and crucify the flesh, you're crucifying your flesh so that the Christ in you shall live. But you don't have to die for Christ to become or for Christ to manifest. No, that was back then. But now, all you have to do is say it and manifest it. Because why? We are back in the realm of speaking and things will manifest. You feel me? So you don't have to die for Christ to become. You just have to speak it. Know that Christ is within you and know that saying that, yes, Christ is within me. I am giving birth to Christ, and therefore I am giving the second coming of the Christ, which is I am that I am. And when you know this truth, nobody could take it away from you. So all I'm asking you Don't send me no donations. I don't want that. All I'm asking you is to love yourself, forgive yourself. Whatever demons that you have, learn to identify the demons, cast them out, and take control because you are in control. You are the creator. You are the God that you've been searching for. And all these contracts that you have signed, whether they are willingly, unwillingly, knowingly, unknowingly, it doesn't matter. You have a right to revoke them. You have a right to cancel them if they're not working in your benefit. Remember, you shape your reality. Nobody but you. You see, what makes me so different from you? We are not different. The only difference is I was able to take control of my disciples. You see, each and every one of us, we have 12 disciples within our own mind, and they are called 12 faculties. Okay? They are called 12 faculties. And then man, the man who wrote the Bible, they gave them personages and they gave them name. Peter is a faculty in your mind. Judas is a faculty in your mind. And Judas is the most loyal disciple. You know why? Because Judas is always going to be Judas. He's always going to betray you. And the betrayal is necessary. Why? Because when you're going off track, Judas has to betray you to give you up so that you could be crucified, so that the Christ could come to life. So Judas is amazing. But the point I'm making is, what makes us so different? What makes us different is not because I'm better than you. No, it is because I have found who I am. I have found my true self. I have mastered my 12 disciples, just like how Yeshua or Jesus did. It doesn't matter what name you use. It's all made up. It's all allegory. It all represents you. It's all symbolic for you as an individual. And we have to do exactly what Yeshua or Jesus did, allegorically speaking. You have to get in tune with your disciples, the 12 faculties, and you have to master them, teach them, so that they could follow you to be fishers of men. And you will be the 13th son. You will be God over your 12 disciples, because the I am in you is actually you. So when you know, you know. So any type of disease, any type of addiction that you're going through, you can overcome that because you are God. Nothing is impossible for you. You are your only enemy. You are your only Satan. All you have to say, like Yeshua, Jesus, it doesn't matter what name you use, said, "Get thou behind me, Satan," because it was all in his head. It was all in his head. And he became a master of his own mind, his mental. So he was no longer a minor. He became a man, a Christ, the man Christ. And we all have the potential to become the man Christ, whether it be male man Christ or female man Christ. It don't matter. The bottom line is, it is up to you. And the only way to get to the Father is through you and nobody else. Or the mother, right? It doesn't matter whether you say father, mother. It doesn't make a difference. You feel me? It doesn't make a difference. The bottom line is, the only way to get to the higher self is through you, the son or the daughter. It is really that simple. And you have to sacrifice the son or the daughter to get to the Father. And the son or the daughter is the flesh. The flesh must be sacrificed in order to put on a new body, so that Christ will be living in a new body. So if you want to drink your body to death, if you want to smoke your body to death, I don't care what you smoke, cigarette, weed, I don't care what you smoke. Weed is an addiction. Okay? I don't do none of these things. I watch what I put in my temple. So the only thing that makes us different is the fact that I have mastered my 12 disciples. I have discipline. That's what disciple means. Look at the word disciple. It means discipline. Now, I'm still a work in progress, but trust me, I'm well on my way. And I'm here to teach you how to be on your way. So when we come together collectively, where you fall short, your brother or your sister will pick you up. And that's what I want to bring back. Community, village, us becoming one. Because that's the goal, to bring back the collective, the Godhead, the pleroma. That's it. All right? Anyway, we'll talk soon, man. Oh, no doubt, Brother Charles. No doubt, man. No doubt, no doubt. We already know what it is. We already know what it is. All right. So, hey, lineage, man, listen, I love y'all for real. Like, for real. When I tell you I love you, I truly do. Because you know why I know I love you? Because I love myself. I know what true love is. All right. And I could say it without any type of, any type of, how would I put it? Conditions, so to speak. Of course, there's always going to be a condition because I love you because I know what love is. That's the condition. But the point is, I could say I love you and I truly do. All right. And that's how I know God is love, because I'm God. You are God. We are all gods. Let us close our eyes to the illusions and open up your eyes to the truth. Don't allow the color to fool you. It was an illusion that was created. Okay? So y'all enjoy the rest of your 24, and we'll talk soon. Oh, no doubt, Indigenous Bushman. Like I said, man, we have the ability to, not just conquer our addictions, our diseases, whatever it is, our ailments. We don't just have the power to conquer them. We have the power to get rid of them, because we could conquer them and hold on to them and make them prisoners of war. Okay, but we have to release them, and we have to be mindful when we release them. We don't release them out into the sphere or the verse, as in universe, so that somebody else could be affected. Okay, we have to make sure within our mental capacity. That's why for me, whenever I do my affirmations, for any type of negativity, I make sure I put it in a bin that no one has access to but me. You feel me? Because I don't want to take a chance and put it out there into some wandering soul that's not strong enough like me, so it could affect them. You see, that's the true meaning and essence of I am my brothers and sisters keeper. Because the actions that you take is going to affect somebody else. So you have to think of others. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You feel me? So if I feel some negativity is coming in, or I catch a cold, whatever the case is, and I'm manifesting that the cold be gone, I don't just say, well, the cold. No, I make sure it's a ritual that I do. Okay, I make sure that I create a space that whatever is coming out of me, that's whether it's negative, whether it's a virus, whatever the case is, I put it in that bin that no one has access to, so it doesn't affect another soul. You feel me? That's when you know you are living as a God, because you want to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You see, that's the true essence of the law. It's really that simple. All the commandments is a bunch of bullshit. As long as you adhere to this one rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love your community as you love yourself. That's all you need to know. Everything else is irrelevant. It is really that simple. It is really that simple. So because I know the love of God, because I'm a God, I take those precautions to protect my brothers and sisters, whether they know it or not. You feel me? And that's when you know you are stepping into your Christ consciousness. That's when you know Christ has manifested. That's when you know the second coming has already happened, because you are the Christ. All right? We'll talk soon.